It's 6 a.m., and my first alarm of the day goes off. I hit snooze and immediately go back to sleep. That was my second alarm. It's now 6:05, and this time I know I actually have to get out of bed. I throw on my stuff for Lyft. I pack my bag with stuff I'm going to wear for the day, and I head out the door. As I walk across campus towards the Ritchie Center, I shove my hands into my pockets and try to walk as fast as possible to escape the cold morning air. When I walk into Lyft, I drop my stuff down by the cubbies and wait as my teammates trickle in. By 6:45, we're warming up. Lyft lasts about 45 minutes. After Lyft, we head back to the locker room, and I change and head to my 8 a.m. class. From 8 to noon, it's all about academics. Then, eventually after lunch, I'll head back to Ritchie to get ready for practice. Practice usually runs from 1:30 to 5 p.m. After that, it's dinner, homework, and then finally around 10:30 p.m., I get ready for bed. And then the cycle starts all over the next day. Being a Division I student athlete demands commitment, time, and energy, and it means balancing a hectic day-to-day schedule while facing higher expectations in both academics and athletics. These expectations accumulate, creating additional pressure on top of the already overwhelming experience of being a college student. This is why the mental health of student athletes needs to be taken seriously. Not only so we can succeed in our sports and academics, but so we can grow into healthy, balanced adults with strong futures beyond college athletics. I'm a Division I gymnast here at the University of Denver, and because I live this life every day, I understand the commitment, the sacrifice, and the emotional toll it can take. Research on student athlete mental health is a growing subject, and that research is helping professionals and institutions like universities understand our experiences more clearly. Through the research, they're able to come up with conclusions and create recommendations to better help support us. From my experience, gymnastics is both the most rewarding part of my life and the thing that causes me the most amounts of stress and anxiety. It has given me incredible opportunities, such as being able to represent my university and being a part of something much larger than myself. It's also taught me lifelong skills like persistence, discipline, and work ethic. And finally, it has helped me gain lifelong friends that I can count on through anything. I know they'll be there through any obstacle or any hardship that I face. For me, the positives far outweigh the negatives, but the negatives are still there and they're still real. My biggest struggle has always been balance. If I focus too hard on gymnastics, academics, and my social life begin to struggle. If I lean too heavily into school, my gymnastics begins to suffer as well as my social life. If I try to have a social life, everything else feels like it's just going downhill. These challenges existed in high school, but in college, they got intensified. Expectations rose, responsibilities multiplied, and the pressure became constant. The schedule I described earlier isn't unique to me. Thousands of student athletes across the country live nearly identical days, long, exhausting days. As a transfer student athlete, I experienced this at two different universities, and at both places the feeling was the same, and is the same. There just isn't enough time in the day to get everything done. The pressure to perform at your highest level in everything, classes, training, conditioning, and your competitions, never stops. Every action feels like it represents not just you, but your team and your university. During my first year, I struggled a lot with time management. As my responsibilities piled up, it felt like no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't doing enough. The days were long, the exhaustion was constant, and the pressure built slowly, layer by layer. By the end of the first semester, I started showing signs of burnout, something that research strongly warns about student athletes. The College Student Athlete Psychological Considerations and Interventions, researchers Gomez and his colleagues found that overloading athletes can directly contribute to burnout. For me, burnout started with my academics. I found myself avoiding homework and choosing to spend time with my friends instead. I saw my grades begin to slip. My focus at practice then weakened. Everything began to unravel, and once that spiral begins, it's incredibly hard to stop. On top of that, I was living on my own for the first time, College demands a level of independence that I hadn't fully developed yet, and adjusting to that while adjusting to Division I athletics and being a full-time college student was overwhelming. By the end of the year, it felt like I had nothing left, and that's when I decided to transfer schools. That transferring schools would be the best choice for me and going closer to home. Looking back, I know I didn't have to struggle as much as I did, and I'm happy with my decision to transfer. But I did not have to struggle as much as I did. And that's exactly why I believe mental health support for student athletes needs to be prioritized. The pressure doesn't magically go away after your freshman year. It continues, season after season, year after year. Although I'm still a sophomore, I can still feel the pressure that I felt freshman year. I just know I've gone through it again and I can do it again. This makes it even more important for universities and coaches to take mental health seriously and create accessible support systems. Student athletes need to know they aren't alone. They need to know that they have people they can turn to before the burnout, before the breakdown, before they feel like things are falling apart. Another major issue is perfectionism. In both high-level academics and high-level athletics, perfection is expected. But striving for perfection in two demanding worlds at once can easily lead to anxiety, mental fatigue, and larger emotional challenges. This is particularly true in a sport like gymnastics, when you're literally judged based off of how perfect you are or how far away you are from being perfect. The trouble is that even though student athletes struggle more with psychological distress than non-athletes, they seek help less often. This was highlighted in Pinkerton and his colleagues' findings in the College Student Athlete Psychological Considerations and Interventions. Stigma and the fear of judgment that coaches and other athletes will find out plays a role in whether or not student athletes seek help for mental health reasons. One of their main recommendations is to promote student health centers, places where counseling is either free or it's discounted, it's confidential, and it's separate from the athletic departments. If I had known more about these resources during my first year, my experience might have been very different. Another challenge student athletes face is developing a sense of identity outside of their sports. In the book New Directions for Students, Chapter 3 called How College Affects Student Athletes, Howard Hamilton and Sinha explained that student athletes often grow less personally than non-student athletes in terms of their own identities. Why? Because their schedule isolates them from the rest of the campus life. Most of their days are spent at practice, in meetings, in the training rooms, or with our teammates. That means fewer opportunities to explore new interests, meet new people, or develop independence. Without that balance, bigger mental health issues can grow, and they can spill into athletics, academics, and even future careers. Encouraging student athletes to engage with more peers outside of their sport and at their universities can make a huge difference. It gives more perspective and it allows for more balance and even more control over their own identities. Supporting student athletes' mental health doesn't just improve their well-being, it improves their performance in every way. It allows them to have stronger academic outcomes, get better, more quality training sessions in, greater community engagement with their university, and a healthier long-term development throughout their college experience. When we prioritize mental health, we invest in the whole person, not just the athlete and not just the student. Universities, coaches, psychologists, counselors, and teammates all play a role. When student athletes feel supported, heard, and understood, they are more likely to succeed both doing their sports and their future careers far beyond college. Being a Division I athlete is an honor and it's a gift. It's also a privilege, but it's also a challenge, one that requires strength, resilience, and support. My hope is that through continued research, open conversations, and better mental health resources, every student athlete can feel empowered to ask for help, find balance, and grow into the person they're meant to become. Thank you for listening.